Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to take you through my entire photoshoot process, all the way from first contact with the client right through to delivering the final images, including invoicing, planning and editing. Now hopefully this is going to give you some insight into how I work, and there might be a few things that you can take with you and adapt for your own workflow. Now what I'm going to do is break the video down into the following 5 sections, and I'll make sure to put timestamps in the description down below if there are specific ones that you're interested in. So they're going to be first contact, booking, invoicing and contracts, planning the shoot itself, so things like locations, themes, things like that, the day of the shoot itself, so what I do on the day, image selection and editing, so how I go through selecting images and editing them, and then finally delivering the images to the client at the end of it. So thankfully I'm in a position now where, because of the number of days a week that I set aside for photography, I tend to have clients approaching me rather than the other way around, although that can change in a flash, and it certainly has done at certain points throughout my career, so that's definitely not the way things stay. Now, whether a client either pops up in my DMs, drops me an email, or even is a previous client that I've worked with before that might give me a call or text me, the first thing that I do is always exactly the same. I thank them for their inquiry, thank them for coming to me, and I ask what it is that they're wanting to achieve from the shoot. So rather than initially asking what they're wanting from me, I want to know what they're wanting from the shoot itself, as that's their vision, that's what is important to them, and I'll know how I can help them to achieve that. We'll then work out the size of the job, the price that I quote, any extras needed like studio hire, things like that. And once both sides agree, I'll draw up both an invoice and a contract. Now, I've done a full video on pricing before, which I'll link down below, and I'm going to do a video on invoicing and contracts in the future, but the main thing is just to have everything agreed, everything written down and everything signed by both parties, so that you both know where you stand. Now, with regards to my invoices, I personally require a 50% non-refundable deposit before I'll confirm a booking, after being burnt far too many times, having clients cancel at the last minute, leaving me with a day's work lost and also no time to find another client to fill that time slot. So regardless of the amount, 10, 20, 50%, I would always recommend getting a deposit before you confirm any job for that specific reason. Now, the contract, that's going to detail everything that's been agreed and what each party needs to provide, and there's an absolute load of templates online, so if you're not sure what to include, just go online, just Google photography contract template and it'll show you everything on there. So once the shoot is all booked and confirmed, that's when I'll start the planning stage. Now again, I've done full videos on both mood boards and on location scouting that will be down below, and I do find these really helpful to ensure that everybody understands the vision and the goal of the shoot and how it's going to be achieved. Now I'll make sure that we've got backup locations in case of factors that are out of anybody's control, so things like if there's roadworks or if somebody else is already filming or shooting there on the day, as well as obviously making sure that you've got a wet weather plan, which you definitely need, especially up north. I do keep checking the forecast leading up to the shoot so that I've got an idea, and I always make sure that there's a group chat either on Instagram or WhatsApp so that everybody involved with the shoot is in touch with everybody else. Any questions or queries can be communicated before the day of the shoot. And if I'm shooting for a clothing brand, I'll make sure that I've seen either the items themselves or the tech packs for the items, and we'll make sure that we have definitely more than one size of each item, just in case the sample sizes can be quite off. If I'm shooting products, again I'll make sure that I've seen what they look like and what size they are beforehand, and then if it's a portfolio shoot, we'll have planned outfits and locations that complement each other using specific colour palettes that'll already be on the mood board that we've done beforehand. Then finally, what I'll do is go through my gear list as well to make sure that I've got all the tools for the job, make sure that I've got spares, backups, make sure that memory cards are formatted, make sure that batteries are charged, everything to make sure that I don't have to worry about anything on the day of the shoot. So then when it comes to the day of the shoot itself, it's all about making the most of all the planning that you've done beforehand in order to achieve the goal. Now, if I'm working with models, I'll always want some time to interact with them before we start, just so that everybody can get comfortable with everybody else, everybody can relax a little bit. At this point, I'll go back over the brief with either the client or the models or the talent, and I'll have the mood board either on my phone or on my iPad so that we can refresh everybody's memory and really have that at the forefront of everybody's mind. It's then a case of shooting the subject, whether that's a model, an item, or whatever it may be, and I always like to make sure that I shoot far more than I need just in case. It's definitely better to overshoot and have far more content than you need than miss a shot that you really want. I tend to have a speaker playing music, and I'll tailor this to either the client or the talent, again to put them at ease so that everybody can work to the best of their abilities. And when shooting digital, I also like to either use the back of the camera to keep the client or models up to date with how they're going, or I sometimes will tether wirelessly to my iPad so that they can see everything in real time. This is really good for building confidence, and it's also fantastic feedback for models as well, because they can see exactly how they're looking on camera and make any adjustments if they feel that they need to. Now, as I've mentioned before in other videos, I always like to over-deliver. And so when it comes to image selection, firstly, I'll go through my Lightroom catalogue, and on the first run through, I get rid of any images that are either out of focus, models have got their eyes closed, or they've got unflattering facial expressions, like if they're between poses, things like that. I then do a second run through and remove any duplicate shots or any shots that don't show either the model or the product in a particularly nice way. And this will leave me with a load of usable images, which I'm going to start going through editing. Now, as I go through each image one by one, there's going to be some that I get to and I just either don't like, or think something's off, or I just don't get a good feeling about, and they just get binned straight away as well. What I'll do is I'll group images together, so whether they're shots of the same product or shots of the same model at the same location wearing the same item. And the first image of each group I usually apply one of my personal presets to, and then I'll tailor this to the image itself and to the original brief on what the client was wanting. Get that to a stage that I'm happy with, and then I'll synchronize that edit to the other ones in that specific group and go through them one by one, tweaking each one accordingly. Do this group by group, and then I'll normally go through all the bundles of the images once again with fresh eyes, either the day after or a couple of days later, just to see if there's anything that I missed the first time round. Once I've gone through all of those and they're all edited, I've got all of my final images ready to send to the client. Now, with the exception of wedding photography, which is completely different in and of itself, I send all of my images to my clients using WeTransfer. So WeTransfer is hugely popular, and with good reason. It's fast, it's free, it's really, really easy to use. The links can be accessed on any device and saved accordingly. Now, sometimes on larger campaigns, there's going to be more than 2 GB of files to be sent, and rather than paying for the premium membership, that's definitely not worth it. What I'll do is I'll just group images together and send each group separately, and you can note each one. So I just put what's in each bundle so that the client can easily identify where each image is. I also try to get images to clients quicker than had been agreed, again, making sure that I over-deliver, but the main thing with this is communication. Just keep in contact with them, let them know how the images are getting on, when they're going to be on their way, so that they're aware of it. What I also try and do every shoot as well is edit a couple of images and send them across within sort of 12-24 hours, just as a little teaser, so that the client has got something to post to social media, they've got an idea of what's to come, and it really sort of builds their appetite for when they get all the images through. And there you have it. That is my photo shoot process from start to finish. Obviously this is quite a high level look, and each job is different and there might be some variation on this, but on the whole this is a process that I try and stick to. Now, a huge well done if you've made it this far. I know this has been quite a long one, but hopefully you've got something out of it and it's going to help you in some way or another. Now, it's taken me years to get to this position, and I've had a huge amount of help along the way, far too many people to name, and undoubtedly we'll get a lot more help moving forwards as well. I'm far, far, far from the finished article. There's so much more progression that I want to make, so many mistakes that I want to cut out. But if you have taken anything from this video, anything whatsoever, please let me know down in the comments below so that I know what's working for you guys and what isn't. Please consider subscribing if you're wanting to see more. And as always, guys, I'll see you in the next video.